Here are 5 reasons why many people struggle with the SAT and ACT math exams. First thing is knowledge. The SAT and ACT are both broad exams. They test material from the grade 10 curriculum, the grade 11 curriculum, the grade 12 curriculum, and even some things that here in BC we don't have in our curriculum. You have to be familiar with all these things and ready to work on an exam that is not narrowly focused on one particular subject area, but on a wide range of subject areas. And this is something that most people aren't that familiar or comfortable with. The second thing that causes people to struggle is experience. The SAT and ACT are standardized exams, and for any standardized exams, the more you practice, the better you'll do. So I recommend one of the most cost-effective ways to do well in these exams is get your hand on a practice book or on any compilation of practice exams and just start writing them so you're familiar with the questions, familiar with the language and with the idiosyncrasies, the kind of things they like to do that are different from what you see day to day in your own classroom. The third and fourth reasons why people struggle with the math part of the SAT and AC exams kind of go together. The third part is process. When you're doing an exam like the SAT or ACT, it's not the same as exams you write in school, and so there's certain things you'll do differently. For example, it's probably not the best thing to do the question sequentially. The goal here is to accumulate marks as quickly as possible. So it makes sense to me that you want to do the questions first that are the ones you can do most easily. You want to bank as many marks as possible and then give yourself as much time to be able to attack questions that are more difficult for you at your leisure. The fourth problem people have is, of course, timing, and it goes hand in hand with process. So one thing I tell students is very often you don't need to answer the questions in order to be able to get the answer. In tests, particularly like the ACT, where they're all multiple choice, the answer's already in front of you. So techniques like elimination or guesstimation or approximation, various different things are techniques you can use to eliminate answers that you know are wrong, and sometimes you can find the right answer just because you know the other answers cannot possibly be correct. And that can sometimes be faster than solving the problem itself. The fifth and final reason why people have trouble with these tests, and I think it's the biggest one, is expectations. You see, in our school system, we learn to expect that, number one, the questions are all going to be very similar to questions we've seen before. And we expect that when we see a question, we should automatically recognize how to solve it because we've been taught how to do that particular type of question. When I'm dealing with students studying, say, pre-calculus 11 math, I'll tell them about different problems, like the problem where you've got a certain amount of fencing and you have to make a particular area for a soccer field, and they immediately know, oh yeah, that's the question where you do this, this, and this. Or there's the question where you're selling tickets to some sort of an event, and if the price is this, you'll sell this many, and then if you increase the price by this amount, this many fewer people, and there's a way to set up that question. So you're expecting when you do this test that you're going to see questions you recognize, and you're going to automatically know how to do that question because you've been told how. But of course, the questions on these tests are questions you've never seen before. So it's irrational to expect that you'll recognize how to solve them. So when you're sitting there with that expectation, many students are trying to rack their brains to think, how should I be solving this? Instead of just looking at what is in front of them and using their logic in their brains the way that they do at every other facet of their lives to solve their problems. If you're still having trouble with the SAT or ACT or any other exams you're doing at school, please check out my video on what to do if you're studying hard but not getting the results you want.